Oh, hello there. This is the one guy, the Dutch guy with the weird hair. That weird Dutch guy with the hair is Zodiac Garden, and today we're covering my ranking for the Exorcist franchise. Well, I've got to admit, guys, this is a franchise that is actually, yeah, let's be faced, guys. This is one of the OG franchises in horror history. Let's face it. And I'll be honest, I will say one thing straight off the bat. To say that all of these films are flawless, they aren't. All of these films have flaws and have problems. Let me say this right straight off the bat. I want to let you guys know that I love the series over the years. And yeah, why not rank them? Because to be fair, let's face it, I've covered a lot of other franchises over the years. Over the time, I mean, until this point. I mean, I've covered Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Saw, I guess. Or is Saw coming out yet? Oh, I don't know. I spoiled it. I don't care. And I did Scream already. Well, Halloween and here we have The Exorcist. Well, I've got to say this before I'm gonna start. I haven't seen The Exorcist show up until this point, so don't expect that the show on the list. Okay? I know it's common to the movies, but I haven't seen it, and I can't have a judgment about something I haven't seen. That being said, let's just dive into it, because trust me, yeah, let's just start with, okay? I want them, and I fuck my life. Coming at the bottom at number 5 is Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist. Well, this was the first prequel produced to the original film, and when the studios saw the finished product, they scrapped it completely and started over and refilmed the entire movie with a new director and cast, save for Stellan Skarsgård. And man, that guy has an annoying name to say. Now, usually I'm all for the original cut of the film being accessible to the public. For the most part, original director's cuts are better than the ones shown in theaters. Aliens, Daredevil, the ultimate cut of BBS, and the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2 are all great examples of this. If I'm being honest though, The Min is simply not a good example, and here's the thing. The problem is not really with the story itself. Much of the same plot, and I mean much of the same, was used in the reshot version, which we'll get into later. Hell, it's not even the actors. Skarsgård is just great in this movie as he is in the reshot version. The problem with this movie is that it's ungodfully fucking boring. Right. The pacing is awful, the payoff is awful, the lead up to the ending is an absolute slog to get through. The only kind of interesting thing in this movie was stuff with the military, and which, to this film's credit, has a lot more depth than it does in the reshot version. But here's the thing, I'm not watching an Exorcist movie to see soldiers. When you make everything surrounding the demon and it's pretty boring, what's there even else to even say? Say what you will about any other film in this franchise, they didn't bore me or make me want to fast forward through most of it. For that reason, I'm sorry, this movie sucks and has to be at the bottom. I'm sorry, guys. Coming in number 4 is Exorcist 2. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Well, I'll tell you, if you have a fetish for locusts, have I got a movie for you. Now, people consider this to be one of the worst sequels of all time in horror history, and trust me, it's really not hard to see why. It's bizarre, frenetically edited, has damn near nothing common with the first film, outside of a couple of characters and stock footage, and the succubus thing at the end was just awkward and uncomfortable. And I mean, really fucking uncomfortable. While I dislike this movie a lot, I feel the same way towards it that I do about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I don't like the new direction at all, but I do give credit that they didn't just try to make the same movie all over again. They tried to think outside the box and attempted something different. It didn't work here. But there were some interesting ideas regarding how poorly they may have been executed. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I just woke up, guys. Linda Blair, Louis Fletcher, to their credit, are both great in this film, as is James Earl Jones. And yes, as much as I dislike this movie, I have to give this film some credit over all the other ones, in that it is the only film in this entire franchise to actually say the demon's name. Yeah, you'd think that would be a priority in the original or even in the prequels, but nope. This is the only film to call Pazuzu by its actual name. And however, despite those few things, the movie is still pretty, yeah, bad. Fucking bad. Please don't think I like this film, because really, I don't. I just want to point out why I think this film has a slight edge over Dominion. It may be creative, but that doesn't automatically make it good. It was too different, too bizarre, and it really sucked. Coming in number 3, taking the bronze, is The Exorcist, The Beginning. Yeah, you guys almost thought I was gonna say the original Exorcist, right? No, I'm not. I'm not that low, okay? Okay, listen, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you guys. I don't think I've ever seen a horror movie this underrated in probably my entire fucking life. I cannot believe the hate for this movie. Trust me. I get some of the criticisms. The CGI is bad, although it was much worse in the original cut. It is a little too short and it lacks the grandiose nature of the original film. However, for the most part, I thought that this was a genuinely solid and engaging film, which given some of the other entries in the series, is a pretty tall order. And fuck it, I'll say it, I liked it more than Dominion and The Exorcist 2. Yeah, hell yeah. So fuck it, I'm just going to spend a little time on defending this movie. And I see all you jackwagons over there behind your keyboard. Okay, I see all you laughing over there. Okay, there you. I don't need your shit. God damn it. I genuinely love this film because it gave me something I wanted more in the original. Father Merrin. All we know about Father Merrin in the original film is literally what we are told about him. He's not a lot of that in the film, which I'll go into more details on soon. This movie fills in the blanks and shows us Merrin's first encounter with Pazuzu in Africa. Again, to reiterate, Dominion had pretty much the same plot, but it went about it in an incredibly boring and tedious way. The beginning actually builds suspense throughout its runtime, and just when you think you figured what the endgame is gonna be, the film takes a complete 190 turn and throws a curveball at you in the heart of the climax. Whereas Dominion kind of robbed us from the suspense of this story, the beginning seems to thrive on it. I'm just gonna give you an example without giving too much away. I don't want people to see it. If you haven't, okay. So I'm gonna say this: both Dominion and The Beginning give Father Merrin the same backstory about how he lost his faith. They literally have the same backstory. It's pretty much shot the same too. Dominion chose to have this backstory just be the entire opening scene, so we know everything right off the bat. No mystery, no suspense, just one big spoon feeding right at the start in your face. Now on paper, there's nothing wrong with this. You establish everything about the character early on, okay, that's fine, but there's no mystery around Father Merrin anymore. We know exactly what he's going through from the start. Now, The Beginning takes this backstory gradually, showing you pieces of it, more and more as the film goes on in flashbacks leading up to the climax. Doing it this way actually gives more of a mystery to Father Merrin's character. So we don't know his backstory until the pivotal moment when he must choose to take up the cloth again and exorcise the demon. That being said, this is probably the only time you will ever hear me say that the studio had the right idea. I think they were more than justified in scrapping that original cut and bringing on Rennie Harlin for a complete overhaul. Cause goddamn didn't need one. The visuals that Harlin brings to the table are great, and unlike Paul Schrader with Dominion, Harlin shows us something in the beginning that should have been in the original cut but wasn't there. The fucking statue! The one that Father Merrin was staring at in the original film, giving it that face like, oh, I've seen this damn thing before, it's on, bitch. Yeah, you'd think that would be a priority in Paul Schrader's cut, but nope. Only in this version. Performances by James Darcy and Isabella Scorupco are great in this film, but it's Stellan Skarsgård who steals it as the show as Father Merrin. The movie is worth seeing if only for his performance alone. Stellan just owns this role as a man who lost his faith in God. The film, for all the blood and the twisted imagery, is very much a character piece on Father Merrin and his apprehension to put his faith in God again. Man, I hate that word. There are moments that are disturbing, as they should be. But there are also moments that are calm and quiet, that allow you to breathe in the atmosphere and take in everything this character is going through. So yeah, Stellan Skarsgård, perfect choice of Father Merrin. Then again, I'd expect nothing less from a man who produces supermodel offspring. Hashtag Stellan Fox. Tell your family, tell your friends, and put it on the shirt. I've spoken. So yeah, I love the suspense, I love the acting, I like the character building moments with Father Merrin, and I even like the callbacks to the original film, some of which just felt like a breath of fresh air. This film isn't perfect, it has flaws that I acknowledge, but it's a damn fine prequel and I still can't comprehend the hatred for this. I mean, 10% of Rotten Tomatoes? Really, guys? Really? What the fuck, people? Well, at number 2, taking the silver, is the original Exorcist. I know, blasphemy, am I right? The original Exorcist is a classic film. The characters are well established, everyone's perfectly cast, the scares are earned, it's superbly directed, and the atmosphere is just breathtaking. There's really not that much I can say about this movie to praise it that no one else has already. The movie is great, and if you have never seen it, you're doing yourself a disservice, trust me. So, that being said, why is this a number 2 and not a number 1? Well, as I said in the beginning, I don't think that any film or entry in this series is perfect, and the main problems I have with this film are the pacing and the characterization of Father Merrin. When shit starts happening to Regan, they spend so much time on doing all of these random tests on her. If this was a small part of the film, it really wouldn't bother me, but it takes forever to get through all of these testing scenes, and because of it, the film slogs a bit. Because when you get down to it, it's just the same thing happening over and over again. They test Regan, Mommy screams at the doctors, they suggest to test her for something else, let her rinse, repeat. They're still well acted, they aren't bad scenes, I just feel like some of them could have been cut not for the time and pacing, and I'm sure I'll have a ton of people saying, "How dare you!" in the comment section, but fuck it, that's just my opinion. In addition, as I said before, the one character that should have been focused on more in this film is Father Merrin. He has one of the coolest opening scenes of all time when he stares down that statue. Look at this! He's looking at the damn statue like, oh yeah, it's bitch, what's up? It really pumps you up from the get-go. Then you don't see him for another 2 hours. He gets maybe 10 to 15 minutes of screen time and then just dies of a heart attack. So now, with all that said, I'm going to ask you a question that's gonna piss a lot of you people off. That question is this: why did we need Father Merrin in this movie? No, I'm honestly asking this. Why did we need him in this movie? We have no connection to him. We know fuck all about him. He's not the one who saves Regan at the end. So why is he in this movie? Why couldn't it just be Father Karras in the room with Regan to confront this demon and regaining his faith? I mean, that's where the heart of the movie lied anyway. Is with that character. It's with that character. So yeah, from a writer's standpoint, Merrin's inclusion just doesn't really work. Max von Sydow's performance is wonderful, and I'm not taking anything away from him. But when all is said and done, Marin isn't really important to anything. He's just kind of there. Again, to reiterate, this is one of the reasons I really enjoyed the beginning, because that film gave Father Marin a clear character. Someone with a backstory, someone with motives, strengths, weaknesses, and flaws. Everything a character should have. You would have none of those things for this character if you were just going off this film alone. Still, as I've said, The Exorcist is a great movie. On the other hand, scariest movie of all time? I mean, if you're deeply religious, like my stepmother, I can see the film affecting you more, but for me, I wouldn't go that far. And coming at number 1 is the movie you haven't seen on this one before, and that's that's the third Exorcist. Now, like the first film, I don't think this film was perfect either. There is one big flaw in this movie that bugs me, but aside that, I really adore this movie. I'm actually kicking myself in the ass for not seeing this film sooner. It's wonderfully paced, superbly acted, and William Peter Blatty's direction is just top notch. The movie takes place almost 2 decades after the first film, where Lieutenant Kinderman, now played by George C. Scott, is investigating murders that seem to match with the long-deceased Gemini killer. Things take even a weird turn when his old friend Father Dyer turns up dead, and he's soon forced to encounter a face from his past that he doesn't fully understand. First and foremost, the performances. There is the bad one in this movie. This is one of the most perfectly acted movies I've ever seen in my life. George C. Scott's performance is just perfect on its own, but it's his chemistry with Ed Flanders in the beginning that really becomes a highlight in this film. I love how this film balances back and forth with these two characters, with the horrific elements happening around them. Jason Miller is back in this film with a performance that towers over his performance in the original. However, the performance that puts this one over the top for me is Brad Dourif as the Gemini Killer. By God, this is his best performance, and it's a crime that not more people do not talk about this. This entire movie could literally just be Brad Dourif talking like the Gemini Killer for hours on end, and I would never be bored. He's just that fucking good. It's not only one of the best performances I've seen, it's one of the scariest I've ever seen. He's just scary as fuck in this film, really. Every time he talks, it just sends shivers down my spine. Oh, goddammit. The fact that this performance wasn't even nominated for an Oscar baffles me on no end. Hashtag fuck the Oscars. Tell your family, tell your friends, and put it on the shirt. I've spoken again. William Peter Blatty's direction is beautiful. This man knew exactly how to adapt Legion into a film, and while he originally wanted William Franklin to come back in this, his direction trumps Franklin's direction at every turn. Now, as I said, there is one big flaw in the film that bugs me, and that is the inclusion of Father Karras, played by Jason Miller. It's his body, but he's possessed by the Gemini Killer. Now, it doesn't bother me that they switch performances back and forth, between him and showing Brad Dourif. That was all fine. I understood that completely. I actually thought that was pretty ingenious. That being said, how the fuck is Father Karras alive? You could say that because you just slipped the Gemini Killer's soul into his body until you blew it into the fucking face, but it makes zero sense how his body is there. We saw him fucking take a swan dive out of a fucking window in the first movie and hit his head on the concrete steps. They say it in this one that he was found walking on the beach all those years ago or some shit with no memory. But there were people surrounding his body in the first movie. What? Did the ambulance not take his body away? Was there no coroner report and everyone was just too baffled to point it out? Well, that being said, while this isn't unbelievably huge plot hole to the point where nothing to nothing anyone can say will ever make me buy it. Everything they do with the character beyond that was brilliant. Everything else in this movie was so damn good that while I can't buy a revelation, I can easily overlook it in the grand scheme of things. The Exorcist 3 isn't flawless as a whole, and yet it remains one of the best psychological thrillers I've ever seen. If you haven't seen this film, seek it out and find out what you have been missing. Well, that's my ranking, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it and don't hate me all that much. Please follow me. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. Please share the video with everyone you know. And yeah, see you guys later. Bye bye.